not forgetting the Nigerian Premier Football League, where Enugu Rangers have been crowned champions of the 2023 and 2024 season. It's promised to be an exciting one this season, so we'll urge you to sit tight as we're ready to take you 360 round the water sport this season. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Joining me on today's edition of the show is Manuel Michael. Michael, good evening to you and welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening to you, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there. Always a pleasure doing this with you.
All right, so we told you we'll bring you all that happened about the weekend, but before we take a look at the heroes and the Nigerian Premier Football League, let's take a look at the latest coming from the world of athletics as Kenyisola Ajayi upstage equality field on day one of the Olympic trials, storming to a solid time of 10.14 seconds to win the men's 100 meters at the Samuel Mumudia Stadium in Benin City. Fresh off for his stellar performance in the NCAA circuit, where he won a bronze medal, Ajayi was fully informed as he ran a commanding time of 10.18 seconds in the semi-final, the fastest time overall. Alaba Kintola followed closely to take second in 10.16 seconds, while Lassie champion Osekiri claimed third in 10.22 seconds. Michael, what do you make of the performance of the athletes in this particular one, talking about the 100 meters event?
I think it's been an impressive one, I must tell you. And taking a look at the level of competitiveness rather within the athlete that took part in that very one in the day one, you want to say yes. We have seen a little bit of changes where some of the favorites, somebody like Sakiri, who was last year's champion, couldn't even finish within the second place. He finished as much as third position. And for me, maybe I want to say maybe it's more like a drop in form from what we expect of him last time out. But then I think it's a good preparation so far. Don't forget that some of these athletes had already picked their ticket for the Paris Olympic game, but just that the Athletic Federation of Nigeria deemed it necessary to be able to give opportunities as well to some of the locally based athletes, so that bring all the foreigners, all the foreign-based athletes rather together and let them compete, so that we can pick the best out of what we have. I think for me it's a good platform also to give the homegrown athlete that opportunity, so that it doesn't look as though it is a lopsided picking order from the athletic body, because sometimes we have some of the good athletes here in the country, but just because they have not gained that global attention, we think maybe their quality is not good enough. But sometimes you also discover that some of them that are based here at home that are doing pretty much better compared to some of the athletes that is based out there in abroad. The difference is just about the facilities that they train with out there. They have the enabling environment, the enabling facility to train on, and that helps them to also improve their skills out there. But then I think it's a nice one. If our athletes, going by the record that we've seen, so going by their form so far, I think we'll definitely go to this very Olympic game and make more impact like what we did in the 1996 Atlanta. So for me, it's a positive news for the Athletic Federation of Nigeria, most especially when we are having some of these our big names, living up to the expectation. I think it's a good one. while preparing for the Paris Olympic Games.
Good one for the Athletic Federation of Nigeria preparing ahead of the Paris Olympic Games. So we hope that the athletes, of course, that will be picked at the end of the day will live up to expectation. The 100 meters event was an impressive one where we saw Kain Sola, of course, putting up an impressive performance, for the in the male category. But talking about the preparation ahead of the Olympics as well, Favour Philip triumphantly blazed to a striking time of 11.06 seconds. 11.06 seconds to grab her maiden women's 100 meters title on day one for the Nigerian Olympic trials in Benin, which automatically qualified her for the Paris Olympic events. The national 200 meters record holder qualified fastest overall to the finals after clocking a then season best of 11.16 seconds in the semi-finals, and was the athletes to watch out for in the final, and she delivered as well. Olayinka Olajide came second place with a time of 11.37 seconds, while Justina Okpo Obeyan was third in 11.45 seconds. Michael, impressive time for Favour Philly, 11.06 seconds. You will see impressive performance from her in this one.
Definitely. Building up to this very one, I think most of the athletic fans out there who turned out their numbers were hoping to see Favour Philly blazing on very good. And she did not disappoint the fans out there. She actually did the needful by making sure that, she nicked that one on the board. I tell you, it's been an improvement from one level to another for Favour Philly. And with this improvement, like I said earlier, it's a good positive way to prepare for the Paris Olympic game. If we are having some of these our athletes doing pretty well, living up to the expectation, giving the fans something to cheer home about, then there is hope that we are not just going to this year's Paris Olympic game to make up the numbers, but we are definitely going to go out there and compete favorably well against some of the strongest hand in the world of athletes. Maybe talk about the Tia Jones of this world, Camacho Queens of this world, and the rest of them. So for me, I think it's going to be a great year for the Nigerian athletics, going by the preparation and the performance of our athletes so far in some of the build-up games leading to the Paris Olympic game.
Ophelia now joins Tima God Bless as the second Nigerian female sprinter to qualify in both the 100 meters and 200 meters for the Paris 2024 Olympic Games. Been an impressive outing so far, Michael, when it has to do with athletics, for women down here in Nigeria. We talk about the likes of Favour Philly, we talk about Tima God Bless, we talk about Toby Amuson. Esi Brumen also left out of the picture, Blessing Okagbari as well. You talk about Choma Onyekwere, trying to remember this other lady's name as well. Look, consider Ekanem is a man.
Okay, you're talking about the female category.
Yes, female category. But I think over time, Michael, the females, they've done better, than the male athletes. I don't know if you know the reason why the female seems to do better than our male athletes over time.
I think for me, look as though more preference is being given to the women out there in terms of the way they treat them, in terms of getting scholarship award. I think the women, they have more of that nod in getting some sort of scholarship award out there to go, to overs and continue their talent. Maybe that is the case, or that is the reason, because when you have more athletes gaining scholarship to go out there and abroad, they have better opportunity to train with compared to their female counterpart, who at least we've seen one or two of them who have gained that sponsors as well, or even get that opportunity as well to go to overs. I guess that is the reason. But then it is also debatable when you say some of the female athletes are doing better compared to the male athletes. It is also debatable as well, because if you take a look at the female category, the male category as well, I think we have some good names as there who have also been able to fly the flag of the country very high. But it just seems that more attention is being paid to the female athlete. I don't know, because of their gender. They are performing. They are performing very well. Do they give the requisite attention to their male counterpart? Maybe giving them some of this scholarship, because last year alone, from record, it is on record that we have about 6 male athletes who got a scholarship to study out there. And taking a look at the record closer, I discovered that it was only 3 for the male category. So for me, I don't know the reason for that disparity, and I think that is why I said it look as though the female, they are being maybe favored compared to the male counterpart.
But the scholarship, does it really affect the performance of an athlete? Because even though you're giving scholarship and at the end of the day you not perform well, it is also be on the record. So for me, it is one thing for you to get a scholarship, it's one thing for you to go out there and train very well, come back and represent your country. For the females, they've done that, than the male.
Yeah, because they have large number of female, being receiving that award. So if you have like 10 female receiving the award and all the scholarship rather, to go and study to go and further your study out there in abroad, and also combine that with your school. If you have like 10 female and you have like 5 male as well, definitely because of the high number of the female athletes, you definitely say, okay, maybe at most 6 out of those 10 might scale through or might be able to shine very high. But maybe in the range of 5 for the male, you may say maybe 3 or 2 is going to at least, make a shine. That is why it looks as though we are seeing that, much disparity, that the females seem to be doing pretty much better compared to the male counterpart. So for me, I think it's about the fact that more attention is being paid to the female because they get more scholarship compared to our male. That is why I rolled out the record. As from last year alone on record, digging through, we discovered that 6 female athletes were gain a scholarship abroad, to continue their study and to continue their game as well. Why we have 3 for the male? What is the reason for that disparity is what I don't know, and I think that may be the cause. That is why it look as though female, they are doing pretty much better compared to our male counterparts.
All right, I think we don't have to argue much on that, but that's what it is. The women are doing very well, than the male athletes down here, in Nigeria, and we actually scrutinizing the reason. What could be the reason? Could it be the fact that more attention is being paid to the female athletes? And maybe in the coming days, we'll tend to know more about that particular one. But let's stay away from athletics as we take a look at boxing on the show, as former world heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua has jumped above Tyson Fury into 4th place in the latest WBC heavyweight rankings, with the Gypsy King now ranked as 2nd. Michael, what do you make of the lifts, for Anthony Joshua in the WBC rankings?
For me, I think it was long coming. It is not surprising, taking a look at what he has done so far in the last few months. Maybe call it the last 1 year right now. He has taken about 4 competitive fights, which he has won all of those 4. His recent fight was against Francis Ngannou and Dr. Wallin, which he actually won those games. You talk about Tyson Fury, a.k.a. the Gypsy King. I think he's not in form so far, and he dated back into 2 years ago where he fought a very competitive fight. Coming back into the ring after a long while into the system, he finds it very difficult to rediscover that his strength again, and that is why we saw that the fight that he had with Francis Ngannou, he nearly lost the fight, if not for the fact that maybe I sense more like a foul play in that game. If not for me, Francis Ngannou actually win the fight. Then in his last game against Alexander Usyk, he saw how he was pummeled by Alexander Usyk. I think for me, the downfall of his performance have contributed a lot, and it is very, very evident. Joshua has done pretty much better compared to what Tyson Fury have done. Though you might say that the quality of those opponents are not the same, but then again, Anthony Joshua has continued to remain consistent. About 4 major games, 4 major fights now, and he's on top of those fights, also dictating the pace, trying to revive back his career, and he's been on the rise again. So for me, I think it's no surprising on why he had to take that massive leap and sit as the first position right now, while Tyson Fury dropped down to 2nd position. I tell you, if care is not taken, Tyson Fury might even further drop down the pecking order, because we saw other great fighters coming up through the rank. Zhilei Zhang as well. It's also the Daniel Dubois as well, also in the mix as well. So if he does not take time to work on his game, I tell you, maybe in few more to come, he's definitely going to drop further in the pecking order as regards to do with the ranking there.
As you're talking about the man on the rising, talking about Anthony Joshua, he has a potential bout, against Daniel Dubois, and everyone is telling Joshua, of course, to watch it. But the man seems to, gain a lot of confidence, heading into this one. But I don't know what you make of that bout against Daniel Dubois, Michael.
Yeah, he need to watch it because Daniel Dubois is a very good fighter as well. I watched his last game. I think he was very, very good. So I think Anthony Joshua need to watch carefully on the opponent that he picks right now. But then, as it stands, it looks as though Daniel Dubois is the man that Anthony Joshua is going to lock on against before at least he starts thinking of squaring up against maybe Tyson Fury or Alexander Usyk. That is, if only that rematch took place, but then he need to take it one step after the other. The IBF belt is still very vacant, so I think Joshua might be thinking of going towards that direction. But one thing is certain, that he's definitely going to face off against Daniel Dubois, but the date and the month is yet unconfirmed. Just like we are seeing the fight, the rematch between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk being postponed till next year. So that will further even give Anthony Joshua more time to further prepare against Daniel Dubois before at least next year he can start thinking of whom to square up against. And the outcome of that rematch between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury will determine who Anthony Joshua is going to square up against if after he has faced Daniel Dubois this year.
If Jagba actually made up the top 5, why Zhang, of course, was in the 4th position. But if Jagba, what do you make of his rise so far?
Yeah, I think I've been watching that very well. I've been watching his game of late, and I think he continue to rise. He continue to get that attention that he truly deserves. Because I tell you, throughout last year down till date, I think he's been able to do a lot for himself. They're winning fight upon fight, taking people off, the road and trying to climb up the ladder. I think this one is coming. I foresaw this coming. Immediately he won his last game. So I think it's a big lift, big congratulations to him and Nigeria as well, because whenever any of our boxers does well out there, it is also a plus to the boxing federation of the country. And over the years, I think the last male boxer that fly the flag of Nigeria and did us proud was I'm still trying to recall his name, Samuel Peter. Ever since Samuel Peter did that magical feat against some of the big name out there, he has not been able to replicate. We have not seen any Nigeria that is able to at least pick up that broken pieces from where Samuel Peter stopped last time. We used to hear of the name. We know the name, Bashali. These are some of the boxers that brought glory and honor to the country. But ever since then, it looks as though Nigeria have not yet found their footings in terms of their influence or superimposing their authority in the world of boxing as a force to be reckoned with. And we truly need to go back to the drawing board. Thank God that somebody like Jagba is coming up through the rank. Let us also hope that he's going to make it to the apex, where we begin to hear his name as one of the biggest puncher in the WBC.
All right, let's stay away from that as we quickly take a look at the beautiful world of football now. Of course, no longer news that Enugu Rangers have been crowned champions for the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League season after beating Bender Insurance at home 2 goals to nil. Michael, it's been an impressive run for Bender Insurance, but emerging champions of the league this season, are they the best team this season in the Nigerian Premier Football League?
Yes, invariably they are the best, and that is why they were crowned champion. If they were not the best, I don't think they should have been crowned a champion. From the get-go of the season, they've been able to maintain that consistency. They've been able to maintain that momentum for me, and truly after 8 years of wait, they were able to break that jinx, because the last time that they won the league was 2016. Coming back 8 years after, to do this in a remarkable fashion, I think for me, they truly deserve their flower right now. They've been very, very good, both home and away so far this season. I think the only team that come close to them was Enyimba, who was, going back and forth against them, pursuing them to see if they can be able to catch up with them. But then, Enugu Rangers are under the tutelage of Fidelis Ilechukwu, prove indeed once again that he truly know what it takes to, become a champion. Having been with MFM in 2017, he led them to a second place finish. In 2022 as well, he also led Plateau United to a second place finish. This 2023 to 2024, he has finally laid his hand upon the trophy. So for me, I think it's a big win for him. And you check through the record, he has played about 271 EPL games, winning 103, drawing about 45, losing 105, if I'm not mistaken. So if you go through his record, it's very clear that Fidelis Ilechukwu was the man that is going to bring back that glory days for Enugu Rangers, and that is what he did over the weekend with a game to spare.
Impressive feat, of course, for Enugu Rangers winning the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League. And of course, according to Michael, he said that they are the best team this season in the Nigerian Premier Football League. But a lot of persons are not happy that at this point that Enyimba Football Club couldn't retain the title they won last time. A lot of persons are actually of the opinion that the league body actually cheated on Enyimba Football Club. We understand that in the game against Enugu Rangers, they were asked to forfeit 3 points and 3 goals. And then in the game against Doma United, in between the season as well, we understand the sanctions that were also given to them. We also led to I think, point deduction or something as well. So some calls actually affected Enyimba when it has to do with point deduction this season. And a lot of persons are of the opinion that if those decisions were not taken, maybe Enugu Rangers would have been the champion for the 2023 and 2024 season.
It takes professionalism for you to become a champion, and if you fail to live to stick with the rules of professional conduct, I think you are going to do yourself more harm than good. That shouldn't be an excuse for me, because as a professional football club, the ethics, the do's and don'ts, the things that governs the game out there. And if you do this thing, that you are going to be in trouble. It's either point deduction or fine of financial amount. But then they went on to do such a thing, and you expect the league body to keep quiet. So for me, I think that excuse does not hold water at all. It's maybe like saying that Manchester City go about allowing their fans and players to be to bend the rules, and you think that the FA will not come hard against them. And when at the end of it all, if it was Arsenal that was coming close to them, due to their repugnant behavior and unprofessional conduct from their players and fans, a point was given to their opponent with a fine against them as well, and you think the league body will not be right. So for me, I think Enyimba actually shot themselves on the foot. As a professional football club, you know the things that you are supposed to do. You know the things that is required of you from the extant law, because I believe every club here in the country, especially the NPFL club, they have the handwritten of the extant laws that governs the game. There's no how you tell me that they don't have these rules, in their hands. So for you to have faltered or flaunted that rules, then the consequences that comes with it. So it shouldn't be an excuse that due to the fine that was levied on them or point deduction and all of that. But then you ask yourself, were those punitive measure that was taken against them deserving? Of course, if it is deserving, there is no need of trying to say that is the the only thing that dropped them back or stopped them from winning the league. So for me, that excuse at all doesn't hold water. They shot themselves on the foot, and they went contrary to the rules, and they need to pay for it so that it serves as a deterrent to others. But then, that is not to take anything away from what Enugu Rangers have done so far this season. They have been very, very consistent as well. At some point, they were topping the league before they now had to relinquish it. So they've had a good season, but then I think some of these setbacks as well is their greatest undoing. Not also forgetting that at a very strategic point where they should be competing, contending against the league leader, suddenly their head coach was snapped away from them, talking about Finidi Joy. So you might want to also say this might be another distraction, for a head coach of a club that with less than 10 or 12 games to go in the season, their head coach was, taken away from them. That will have some impacts, on the team as well. So you may want to say that is another challenge, but then I think that is not to underplay or underrate what Enugu Rangers did so far this season.
Michael, it's not a very good state at the moment, for Imba Football Club, because you take a look at the table now, they are seated third. Enugu Rangers, they've won the league already with 67 points. Remo Stars are second with 62 points. Imba Football Club, they are third now with 60 points on the log. Shooting Stars are fourth with 59 points. And Plateau United are fifth with 58 points. Imba's next game is against Plateau United. Plateau United also seeking to go for the continent. Don't forget 2 teams for CAF Champions League, 2 teams for CAF Confederation Cup. So Plateau United stand on the verge of defeating Imba in their next encounter and get to the 4th position. Shooting Stars are also on the verge of getting down to maybe the CAF Confederation Cup as well. So a win for Plateau United against Imba Football Club in their last game will guarantee them continental spot, while Imba will drop out of continental sports at this point in time. So I don't know what you make of it. Very dicey for Imba.
Very dicey, but I believe they should fight to the last drop of their blood.
At home.
Yes, they should fight to the last drop of their blood to ensure that at least they cling on to that continental ticket, because having lost the league to the eventual winner, talking about the Enugu Rangers, I think they also need to improve on their last game, especially playing at home. Maybe you say maybe the home advantage will play in their own favor as well, to be able to get all 3 points and score more goals as well to help them, maintain that continental spot rather. But then it's not going to be an easy one, because they are also playing against a team that have an ambition as well, who also be willing to give them a run for their money. So that makes it very, very cagey and very dicey. But then it is very interesting that this year's NPFL, we are seeing the battle for the winner of the league and the battle on who gain the continental ticket. We are seeing this fight, especially at the last minute. It makes the club very competitive. This is the kind of healthy rivalry that we want to see in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Gone are the days where you say before 5 games or even 7 games, one team has already won the league. It makes it look like less attractive. But when you are having this kind of competitiveness, you see that fans will be kept on their edge, not knowing what to expect in the next game. And that is the beauty of the football. When you are seeing most of the team competing, jostling on how to finish very strong on the league, I think for me, it's a clear indication that we've seen that the efforts of the Benga Elegbeleye board is actually paying good dividend this season.
It's very dicey. I just feel pity for Imba, because if they don't get to the continent, it will be very embarrassing. Their last 2 games have been very abysmal. They drew against Barca United and lost in their last encounter against Sporting Lagos, and that does not tell of a team that has a very good form at the moment. And Plateau United, they are in a very good form, and it might not go Imba way if time is not taken this time. But I understand that Gombe United, they've been relegated already. Heartland also, they've been relegated, and we're looking forward to see who will join them in that relegation zone. Will it be Doma United, Sporting Lagos, and Aqua United? Taking a look at the match last days, Michael.
Well, it's a very difficult one, very tricky one. If you take a look at where Aqua United is seated, 15 with about 46 points, if I'm not mistaken, closely followed by Sporting Lagos on the same point as well, 46 points. Then again, in the following Sporting Lagos is Doma United, who have played 36 games and are on 43 points. So it's going to be a battle.
Doma United had an advantage, yeah?
That is what I'm saying, because they've played 36 games, while Sporting Lagos and Aqua United have played 37 games. So invariably, Aqua United and Sporting Lagos has only 1 game remaining, whereas Doma United is having 2 games left. Now, Aqua United and Sporting Lagos is topping Doma United with just 3 points, and they have 1 game left, while Doma United have 2 games left. So invariably, if Doma United get to win their 2 remaining games, they will be on 49 points, meaning that it's going to be a battle. For maybe you try to see if anybody get to draw. I mean, if Aqua United get to draw or even lose their game, and Sporting Lagos get to draw or lose their game, invariably Doma United, you know, will stay afloat in the NPFL, while Aqua United and Sporting Lagos will go down the railing. So I think it's very, very interesting so far. Very interesting. So the last game of the season is going to be more like a game of consequences for these 3 clubs. But I'm thinking, looking at the recent result, that Aqua United is going to escape the relegation battle.
All right, let's see how it goes. You talked about the league, and we just have 1 match, to go. Apart from Doma United, that have 2 games remaining at this point. We're seeing the fans, back to the stadium. Take a look at some of the match venue. We saw a huge number of people in the stadium. Are these fans organic, or maybe they are just being prepared by the management of this team just to come cheer of the team in some crucial game, just like the one we saw last time between the Enugu Rangers and Eyimba Football Club? But we understand that the Northern fans, they're very organic. They are always there to support their team. But when it has to do with the southern parts and the east, are they really organic? Because we saw in some match venues, high number of people, attendance in those venues. Are they really organic when it has to do with the south and the eastern parts of the country?
I think that wasn't the case before, but I think as the season continued to wear out, it looked as though the interest of the fans has been reignited, maybe because of the little changes and the competitiveness that we've seen in this year's league. For example, you saw the mammoth crowd that turned out in the cathedral in the Oriental Derby between Enugu Rangers and Enyimba. Then again, shortly after that, job-breaking crowd that turned out to watch that game, the following day, the next midweek game between Enugu Rangers and Shooting Stars, we saw another mammoth crowd turning out in their numbers. Why? Because something was involved. Shooting Stars is pushing to finish in a very respectable position. While Enugu Rangers is topping the league. So it was more like a battle of interest between these 2 clubs. And that also motivated the fans as well, to come out very strong. So I think it's a big positive that we need to draw from this, and also improve, consolidate on this good positive. Yes, because if there is a consolidation of this massive improvement in the league, then be rest assured that come next season. Now, just take a look at the way the fans is beginning to show this interest. Now again, just imagine if the league is televised in a more acceptable platform that will be very free and convenient for most people. The followership will increase. We understand there's level of the television rights so far that the NPFL board had to try with a certain company. But then some persons have find it difficult or complain about streaming some of those games. Sometimes, depending on where you are, network is often the issue. So some of them are not even good in streaming some of those games. But just think of it, if we were able to strike a deal with a more improved media organization that will be able to give us the game as at when the people want it, the people will come back. That passion, that interest will definitely come back into the league. And we have seen it. We have seen it so far this season. So I believe that the league bodies, they should also consolidate on this gain for this season so that the fans will come back, to the stadium again, so that you go back to the days of 70s, 80s, where the crowd at every given match venue is also very, very appealing and very interesting to see them. In fact, then my dad, I will not forget, he continued to tell me that then they await for every weekend, where, because he was a fan of Enugu Rangers, he await for a day, that the weekend that Enugu Rangers want to play. He said that there's nothing that keeps him away from the stadium. And that was the level of love and passion that the fans has there. So I believe with this improvement, like I said, you know, we are beginning to gain back the confidence of the fans. Let's hope that the league body will also take advantage of this and improve on certain areas, so that we begin to see the fans coming back to the stadium again.
All right, at this point, we'll take a short break, and we'll come back from this break. We'll move on to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. A lot, of course, to take a look at down there in the Super Eagles of Nigeria. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Sport Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network, and we're bringing you the latest revolving around the world of sports. And we're talking about the Nigerian Premier Football League. Enugu Rangers have been crowned champions of the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League. We also saw some matches over the weekend as Plateau United played 1-1 draw against Kano Pillars. Lobby Stars beat Kwara United by 4-3, and Katsina United beat Doma United by 2-0. And Rivers United beat Gombe United by 6-0. Heartland FC beat Niger Tornadoes by 1-0. Away from the Nigerian Premier Football League, Michael, Finidi George, former head coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, has attributed his resignation to the decision of the Nigerian Football Federation to hire a foreign technical advisor for the team. That's the reason why he tendered his resignation later. How cogent is this reason, Michael?
Very, very cogent enough for him. I think he don't want his image to be tarnished, you know, and that is the reason that we heard he had a meeting with the NFF on Tuesday, away to far away in Abuja, the class house. You know,
so that was on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, and as he came back, he was waiting to hear from the NFF, but then he could not receive any call. So he sensed that possibly they have already concluded plan to bring in a foreign expatriate, and for him, I think he just think that maybe that is not good enough for his person and for his image, and that is why he decided to throw in the towel. Then again, he will also want to say yes, maybe because of the pressure from the fans, you know, that he had to throw in the towel, looking at how, you know, difficult he has found himself in the 2 games that he has played so far in the World Cup qualifying game between South Africa, which we drew here. He went away against Benin Republic, lost the game, and then Nigeria Super Eagles find themselves in a very precarious condition at the verge of missing out on the 2026 World Cup, and the pressure is coming. Fans are complaining, everybody is agitating, you know, fingers being pointed against him, against his tactical ineptitude and all of that. So I believe a lot actually, you know, were a contributory factor towards Finidi George training the tower, not just the reason that maybe, you know, NFF wanted to bring an expatriate. For me, I think a lot was involved, you know, and that is why Finidi George, if you ask me, that is the best way. You need to live honorably, because it would be more like a demotion, that you are just appointed the head coach of the Super Eagles. Less than 2 months, you barely played 2 competitive games, and you were also, you know, compelled or coaxed to step down as the head coach. Whatever the portfolio they wanted to use, maybe foreign expatriate, and now Finidi George, the chief head coach, and all those things are just, you know, nomenclature, a way of trying not to offend the sensibility of Finidi George. NFF, they were very wise. They just deliberately set up Finidi George to fail. And that is the reason why they could not even offer him 2 years contract. They offered him 1 year contract. And the reason why I say that NFF was very wise is that if they had sacked him outrightly, they would have to pay him his full compensation. And that is why they did not sack him outrightly. They had to use a more, you know, sensible and tactical way of trying to demote him. Then Finidi George, knowing fully well that it's going to be a dent on his own image, he had to resign by himself, meaning that NFF is not going to pay him any of this entitlement, because he's the one that resigned. So for me, NFF just set Finidi George up to fail, and that is what happened. And for me, I also blame Finidi George, because he should have been able to pipe low for now, concentrate on the Enyimba job. Your time will come, and by then you might have been able to build your CV, build your coaching reputation. Then people will even clamor to have you. And not maybe, I know the lure and the attraction of, you know, having you being the Super Eagles head coach. Of course, you know, it is a very juicy position that nobody will refuse. But then, do you have the requisite experience to go there and get the result? That is what Finidi George failed to do. He would have been one of the hottest coaches that the Super Eagles would crave for in time to come if he had allowed himself to go through the coaching ranks and do a lot of improvement with Enyimba. Let's say, stay with Enyimba like 2 or 3, 4 years. Continue to build your coaching CV, you know, and get, along with getting some coaching license. That would have been the best way for Finidi. And I tell you, in 4 or 3 years to come, definitely the NFF will go begging Finidi George, cap in hand, to come and be the head coach. But then he was too, you know, quick in accepting that offer, and that is why I say that NFF just set him up to fail.
Finidi George, no longer the coach of the Super Eagles of Nigeria, he said that he tendered his resignation due to the reports he got that the NFF want to hire a foreign technical advisor in the team. All right, we wish him well down here as well, and we hope that this move, of course, who benefits the Super Eagles of Nigeria, Michael, because it's not by getting a technical advisor can we qualify for the AFCON come 2025, can we qualify for the World Cup as it stands now. So it's a dicey situation. And do you see Nigeria getting to the 2026 World Cup with this situation on ground?
I think it's a very difficult question to answer, because it looks as though Nigeria, Super Eagles right now, is you know, in the deep blue sea, you know, between the devil and them as it stands right now, because the World Cup tickets, can we make it through? It is out of our hand right now as it stands. We need to depend on other results from Rwanda, from South Africa, or Benin Republic, or even Lesotho to pull through. Because it is no longer in our hand again. Like I said, just 6 games to go now. We have 3 points. Others, about 3 countries, Benin Republic, Rwanda, South Africa, they all have 7 points. Nigeria is rocking 3 points. It's second to the bottom out there, and it's going to be a very difficult one. You need more than a miracle, if there's anything like that, for us to, come alive, come back to life in our group, because it looks as though we are dead in that group as it stands right now. So we need to depend on the result of other people, other countries, meaning that we have reverted back to the days of punching the calculators, doing the devil's prayer. Let it not be well with the next person, so that I will scale through. I will ride under his own disadvantage as well. That is the kind of prayer that Nigerians will be wishing for right now. So for me, it's a very dicey situation. The coach that is going to come, how qualified, how capable is that coach? Who is that coach are we looking up to? We are hearing names, so Consecao. You take a look at the history of that man, take a look at his coaching CV, nothing. Nothing to write home about. It's not a laughing matter, Kingsley. It's a serious thing.
But that's
because
the problem. We don't hire the best.
that is it. We complain that because of the financial constraint, that is why the NFF had to squeeze themselves to go for, maybe you call it a less experienced coaching. That is why they had to pick Finidi. Now that Finidi George has failed on the mandate, money suddenly appear in their pockets right now to go for a foreign coach. So you take a look at all this, and look as though our administrators, and especially the NFF, we are not serious. And that is where, after the outburst of Victor Osimhen, you saw the former international Victor Anichebe also went onto this social media to blast the NFF. Say that they are a bunch of unserious people. They are not serious. Everything about what they are doing, they are not serious. And for me, if you take a look at their body language and the action and the inaction that they have been taking so far, it looks as though it is true that the NFF is just not willing to do the needful by making sure they take the right decision, take the right step at the right point in time, so that they help solve the problem that many Nigerians are passing through. That should not add to the problem of the high cost of Gary. At least football, especially when it has to do with Nigerians, they get very, very happy and excited whenever you hear that the Super Eagles is playing. The only thing that gives them joy, you want to take it away from them. It is very, very bad. So we must find a way to look for a perfect coach with a good CV that is going to see if we can be able to remedy the situation. First, qualify for the Nations Cup before we start talking about the World Cup, because a lot is still yet to be played in that game.
And talking about Victor Osimhen outburst against Finidi George, a lot of Nigerians and ex-international calling on him, to tender an apology to Finidi George.
Yeah.
We all heard what he said, concerning the comments he got about Finidi saying that he's not going to beg him to come play for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I know you heard all of those comments coming from Victor Osimhen. What do you make of the comments, and what do you make of the situation? You think Osimhen was right by responding that way? And a lot of verification as well. Did Finidi George actually made that comment? And if that in this one, if Osimhen was not right, what do you think should be the move from the NFF?
I think first, talking about the altercation of Victor Osimhen when he went on Insta Live to do, some of these statements, I think it was quite childish and unprofessional of a player such as Victor Osimhen. In fact, as a professional, you don't need such a thing. It is very, very demeaning, not just to Finidi George, but he also demean and undermine the entire NFF and the Super Eagles fans out there, because in the beginning of the video he said that if this thing that he's saying right now is going to be the reason why he will not play for Super Eagles again, he says so be it. That after all, that the Super Eagles is not his father's property. He came there and met it, and he's going to leave. He met other people. So I think if you look, I don't want to go into details about some of those demeaning and derogatory words, that he used. I think for me, it is quite bad for Victor Osimhen with such unprofessional conduct for him. And the next line of action, by now, I think that the NFF should have been able to release a statement as regard to that action of Victor Osimhen, banning him. Because for me, I think there should be a punitive measure, dealt against Victor Osimhen, so that he will serve as a deterrent to other players who may be thinking that they are above the national team coach. Because if you insult the national team coach, it invariably means that you have insulted the federation or the authority that put him there. So for me, I think the NFF should find a way to punish. It's not about even compelling Osimhen to apologize. No, you don't ask him, you don't force him to apologize. It's about you lifting the hammer against him so that you know that what he did was absolutely wrong.
All right, let's quickly move away as we take a look at the results, coming from the Heroes. Poland, they lost to Netherlands by 2-1. Slovenia played 1-2 against Denmark. Serbia lost to England by 1-0. And for today's fixture, it's been an impressive one we've seen so far. Taking a look at the matches already being played. Romania got past Ukraine by 3 goals. The game against Belgium and Slovakia is currently on at the moment. Michael, surprisingly, Slovakia is leading. I think that goal scored by Belgium was actually cancelled. 1-0, 90 minutes plus 4 extra minutes time, down there.
Quite shocking. And they actually scored very early, So for me, it looks as though Belgium, they have started to falter even at this early stage. Most of the time you expect some of these big name countries with big players to also live up to the occasion. They don't live up to that occasion. We saw what happened to England yesterday. After scoring that early lead in 13 minutes by Jude Bellingham, they could not even find more opportunity to finish off the game. It ended in that 1-0. For Belgium, it's going to be a very disappointing one if they get to lose.
Tonight, France will be national against Austria by 8 p.m. And that's how far much you could go on the show this evening. Michael, it's been an impressive time this evening.
Always a pleasure doing this with you.
And we can't go without telling you that Enugu Rangers are sport extraordinaire for winning the 2023 and 2024 Nigerian Premier Football League. Don't forget, please sign it over the pathways to progress. My name is Kingsley Emmanuel. Thanks for
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human trafficker.
Honorable they are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
No agreement with the EU, but